Eastern Standard Time, and we are airing live. Hello,
hey,
everyone.
And here's my impression of a reality TV star explaining progressive discounts. So I was talking with Greg, and he said that Bailey knew what Erica said about her when we were all on Marcus's boat. And I was like, you what? Wait, for a steer drama because progressive chose his discounts like state policy and paid in full.
Not
so
yet.
It's not like he said, she said, shut up, whatever. So basic, you know?
Not working.
Discounts to help you save more. Now that's progressive.
But then he was all, no way, Jose, because his name's Jose. Legit.
Progressive Casualty.
I don't know what's happening.
Discounts not available in all situations.
Get in the
This
chat
is
room.
the rocker, Keith Ramsey from Deep South Paranormal, and you're listening to Steve and Naomi on Into the Unknown Realm on D.T.M. Wicked Radio.
I don't know why it's doing this.
Welcome into the unknown realm with your hosts, Steve and Naomi from Second Sight Paranormal. Take a journey with us into a world that few understand and even fewer dare to go. On your home for everything wicked, DTMWickedRadio.com. Welcome into the unknown realm. I am Naomi.
I'm Steve.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight. We are actually off of a pretty fun weekend this weekend.
It seems like it's radio.
No fun here.
We had the pleasure of going back to the haunted Victorian mansion yesterday for a wonderful book signing of Joni Mahan. I'm not sure if you caught any of the interviews we did. We interviewed several people who have had experiences there, from caretakers to some of the paranormal teams, even someone who decided not to do ghost hunting anymore.
Because of the events that happened to him.
Yeah.
You know the one thing we forgot to do, though?
What?
Is turn on the lights when we did the last interview.
You guys can't hear us in the chat room, can you?
I think we're good. Are we good, ladies and gentlemen? Are you there? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Is there anybody out there?
You got us?
It's the Mayan show.
All right. Chris, take it over, baby.
All right, well, here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Psychic Medium Chris George, and I'm joined by my co-host, Victor Voice Herman. Welcome to our show. This is Second Sight Radio. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are airing live from New York City for the next 2 hours. You are listening to DTMWickedRadio.com. And we have an amazing agenda tonight, and I really can't wait to get to it. But before we get on with the show, Victor, last week we had on Eden Scott Cross. What do you want to say about Eden?
We love Eden. Animal communicator, psychic medium, someone who is just like our spiritual family, like the group of folks that we're going to have on tonight. It seems like every week we're connecting with these wonderful people. And Eden and I chatted after the show was over, Chris, and it's like she and I were brother and sister, literally brother and sister.
I know it. You know what? She wrote some really wonderful, really, really nice things to me, and I liked it. I thought she was awesome. Meanwhile, my son is calling me right now to let me know how he did on his playoff game, but I'm not going to answer. I told him to leave me a message. So, Gemstone of the Week, birthday segment, Church of Second Sight. We have it all. We probably won't get to the gemstone, but you know what? That's okay. My fan page is Psychic Medium Chris George. Victor's fan page is Victor the Voice Furman, and our group page is Second Sight. Like them all, people. You know what? Because we're here for you, so like us. Famous birthdays. We have Neil Patrick Harris. We have Jim Belushi, Tupac, the Ultimate Warrior, Geronimo. In fact, you know, last week I actually dressed up as Geronimo. You'll have to ask Chrissy about that one. Stan Laurel, we have Barry Manilow, Blake Shelton, Paul McCartney, Kathleen Turner, Lionel Richie, John Goodman, and Brian Wilson. And my thought for the week, no matter how good of a person you are, there will always be somebody that criticizes you. That's a fact, Jack. Victor, what do you say to that?
I agree with you 100%, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with all my heart and soul. haters and bullies are out there. Don't give them attention. That's what they want. The worst thing you can do to a bully or a hater is to not pay attention to them. Let them go.
That's right. I just want to say one thing. Everyone who's listening, I want you to repeat after me. Hate is going to hate, and you know what? Screw you, because we don't care. Anyway, Victor.
Before we go any further, Chris, I want to say something. You had mentioned about dressing up as Geronimo with Chrissy.
Right.
I just want to know, how was your tomahawk that night?
My tomahawk was firm. Very, very strong. Anyway, and I was chopping. So, Victor, who are our guests this week? What kind of event? Well, I mean, let these people know what happened. Come on.
Chris, this is a show like no other show we've ever done. This started back in the Salem Paracon a few months ago. We had a wonderful time up there with the D.T.M. family and all of the great friends that we've made through the D.T.M. organization, and really paranormal unity. And Mark Arvila did a great job with his organization in organizing this. It was the opportunity for us to meet Joni Mahan for the first time, and Joni is with us tonight. It was our opportunity to meet her friend Sandy McLeod for the first time. Sandy's going to be joining us shortly. And we met Jeff Legier in person for the first time at the show.
Yes.
I'm sorry, at that Paracon. And we also reunited with our wonderful friend, our brother, Tom Gillespie, who is also the chief investigator for Second Sight Paranormal.
I just want to say, I really don't like Tom all that much.
I know you don't. And his beautiful Jackie, and I don't know if she'll join us later, but Jackie was an integral part of what happened. And then so after the Paracon was over, we visited Jeff's home because he had been asking us to come up and inviting us. And we got up to Jeff's home, and it was just an amazing experience.
It really was.
Jeff's land and his home are so filled with spirit and activity that it was just an amazing thing. And Chris, why don't you talk a little bit about what happened that first visit at Jeff's?
Well, we went there, and just the different energies from all over the place. It was like every part of the house had a little bit of a different energy, and the way the energy was swirling around was just it was something that I really don't think I've experienced it like that before. And what was interesting, Victor, is we were experiencing it very differently. Okay, we were both experiencing the same thing, but I was processing it like in a couple seconds, and you were processing it over time. And it was amazing because we were feeling the same exact thing and processing it in different ways. It was pretty awesome. And then when we went outside and we went to that area where we eventually did our, what we did over there, which we're going to talk about, the energy there was different there. And then a little bit further down the hill, it was different there. It was just unbelievable. And what I remember is when we went up into the attic, and I was saying how the energy was going counterclockwise, and you were saying it was going from up and down, and we were experiencing the same thing, but in different ways. It was just, it's hard to explain. It was just friggin' amazing.
Well, one of the things that my takeaway from that first trip to Jeff's, other than the fact that Jeff obviously is our brother, spiritual brother from a long time, was that there was that land was sacred and has always been sacred, and that there was a calling to us to restore some of that sacred energy and to bring it back. And in the process of having this discussion, you channeled a Native American word,
yes.
and then I immediately followed up with a Native American word. Neither of us had heard those words before. Why don't you tell them what word you had channeled?
Well, I got Wanka, and then you said Tonka.
Wakan, you said Wakan.
Wakan, and then
I said Tonka.
Right.
And we didn't know, and later on we looked it up with Jeff, and Wakan Tonka means great spirit in Lakota language. Now, the area we were in was not Lakota. The Indians that lived up in that area, the Native Americans, were the Narragansett tribe, the Massachusetts tribe, the Nimkuk tribe. There's several tribes that are up in that area, but not Lakota. But we came to the understanding that the language, the wording of Wakan Tonka, this great spirit, is actually a universal term.
Universal, and that was awesome because, when we got there, we had this amazing feeling of ancient Native American energy. And I'm not talking about 100 years ago, 200 years ago. We're talking like thousands of years ago, right, Victor?
That was my take. My take was that this was thousands of years, not 100 years, 1,000 years. This was thousands of years, and that was the energy we got.
And what else is interesting is that we were picking up, now a lot of you are going to think we're crazy, we were picking up ET energy.
Well, that was on the second trip. That was
on the second. Well, no, we picked it up on the first trip because Jeff and I had a little conversation about that on the hill.
Okay, I didn't recall that. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then later on, we'll get to that later, but just to show you the different types of energies that were there, we had swirling energy, we had upswinging energy, we had Native American energy, we had ET energy, all going on in the same place. And for those of you who know anything about how to feel energy and what it can do to you, let me tell you something. If you're not grounded, it'll knock you on your ass. Actually, when we were upstairs in the attic, Victor, I think you had to sit down.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because the energy was
so intense and so upswirling for me that I had to sit down. But getting back to the property, so in any event, our experience that weekend was so intense, we decided to go back. And that's what this show tonight is going to be about. And at this point, I want to bring in Jeff Legere and introduce Jeff. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man.
Jeff, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and the property that you live on and how you came to be there and what your experience has been?
Well, I mean, first of all, everything you guys just said is exactly what I was feeling, and it was so good to have that validated after you guys... because I really wasn't saying anything. You guys were picking this all up without me even saying it. But it's all stuff. I mean, like we said, the ancient spirits, hundreds of thousands of years this goes back. It's ridiculous. So I ended up here, like you guys, I've been seeing spirits and all this other stuff my whole life. And I was living in a place on the other side of Beverly where me and another guy, we were going to put it on the market after a year or so because I had moved, because I got a divorce, so I moved from Groveland to Beverly to be close to my kids. And that house was crazy haunted too, but it wasn't like this place. So within a week, he said, the bank's calling they need all of their money right now. It's like, you got to get out of here. I'm like, well, what are you kidding me? We're not going to go. He goes, you can go stay up above the sales office. There's a place up there no one's been living in. So we've got these two guys we call the amigos that work with us. They took all my furniture. They threw it all in one room, and just next thing you know, I was here. So the first night I was here, it was like 2 a.m, and I could sense this little girl. They were so excited to have somebody in there at this point. There was this little girl that kept flicking the lights. And I'm like, really? It wasn't like a thing like I'm going to scare you. It was like, look what I can do. Look what I can do. And I'm like, you're kidding me. It's 2 a.m. I started yelling. All of a sudden, all the spirits just kind of scattered away. So from there, I started to, explore and kind of get the feelings of the place. And the spirits that come and go, I cross them over. They come, more come. There's always 2 that are inside that are always here. And basically what it is we've got the Native American outside, but across the parking lot over there is a mansion that this used to be the carriage house for. So a lot of the workers used to stay here. And this is where they used to come to get away. Up in the attic, you guys have both been up in the attic. It's the activity up there is off the charts.
That's right.
Because that's basically where they used to go and meet and have their dances and stuff. So, at one point, there was 200 workers here when this place was up and running. And, these people were, very nice people. They took care of the people that worked here. There was another mansion that used to be right next to the one that's there. They were within 100 yards of each other. It was total all woods, but there was 2 mansions right there. So, my guess is they used to share the workers, and they just kind of got along. But they were the Bartletts, and what they did was they bought all of the houses down around in the neighborhood and gave them to their workers. So, there's really good feelings from the workers here. So I mean, basically, the way I ended up here, I mean, I think it was just fate. I belonged here because I understood them and I would talk to them. And, I mean, it's just, I love it here.